Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. It's a pretty decent week, pretty good sized week. At the request of Debbie, I have put some books back up on the shelves. I will move really quick. Most of these are all from First Second Press. I got these at Comic-Con. They're all autographed copies, so that was kind of a big win. And some of them were Eisner nominated books, so definitely check out First Second Press. They put out a lot of really great young adult graphic novels, and they're usually all well worth checking out. And then on Sunday, if you happen to be at Comic-Con, they usually have everything half off, so you kind of make out like a bandit. So, but anyways, there's this. I'll try to change it up. Hopefully, we'll get back to that. It's just been kind of crazy in real life. But we'll try. We'll give it a try. So this one's for you, Debbie. So we'll get that one. Anyways, let's get to this week's reviews. First up, we have Godzilla Monster Island Summer Camp original graphic novel, written by Rosie Knight with artwork by Oliver Ono. So I'm really big fan. I'm a big fan of all ages books, and I'm a big Godzilla fan. So Rosie and Oliver have melded those two my favorite things together in this original graphic novel. What the story is a girl, Zelda. Her mom is saved up for her to go to this artistic summer camp, but when she gets there, she discovers that it's a sports camp run by this company, More Inc., and so, she's not into sports. She actually, has to walk around with a cane. So, sports is not her big thing. So her roommates are Wheezy and Romuko. So Romuko's like kind of the sports person. She's like, I'll take the hit. I'll save our, roommates and everything. And what it is Zelda discovers a secret passage to Monster Island. And like the two islands are kind of connected. And so, when she gets over there, she just, finds Minizilla. And or Mini-Nilla. And it's basically baby Godzilla. And so he gives her this like magic cane, and it allows her to communicate through thought. So she discovers his name and discovers kind of what's going on. And what it is there's earthquakes that are happening, so it's disrupting both islands. And we discover that More Inc. is actually doing fracking, and it's actually destroying both islands. So it's up to Zelda, Wheezy, and Romiko to, kind of save the day, or Milla to help them find Godzilla, to help them, stop the fracking from the company. This is probably one of the most charming books I've almost ever read. Knight's script is really good. We get to know the characters really well and everything. And, she's written a number of, Godzilla books. So obviously she's a big fan. She knows kind of the what works and what doesn't. And, she really nails it here. It's like I said, it's super charming. It's a really fun read. And, even though I'd say it's aimed a little bit younger, it definitely is a great all ages story. And then Ono's artwork is really just perfect. It kind of has that, kind of fairy tale storybook look to it. And it's just, really, really a great looking book with a really good story. I think one of my favorite things is when, they bring, Minizilla to the camp, and they dress him up, they put a coat on him and glasses, so he doesn't, he looks like a regular camper. It's freaking hilarious. It's gorgeous. And it's just really a solid book. It's only $13 cover price, so it's really a good deal. And it's really one of my favorite books this week. It really is wonderful. Bravo to Rosie and Oliver. They just really nailed it on this book. So definitely pick that up. Next up, we have Wolverine's Revenge, #1, written by Jonathan Hickman and Greg Capullo. Now, before we get too far, there's a bagged version that's more bloody, and it literally is only like 3 or 4 pages. The story is exactly the same. It's just that the other version has more blood and slightly different artwork in it because of the blood. But the story is actually the same, so it doesn't really make any difference which version you get. You know, whether you get the bloody version or the non-bloody version, the story is exactly the same. And the basic premise here is that an asteroid is hit near Ontario, Canada, and has destroyed most of North America. Billions of people are dead, and SHIELD only has they're trying to save the rest of the world, and they only have 3 helicarriers left, and Cap and Bucky and Wolverine are pretty much the only heroes left. So they go to a remote site where they have a cold fusion generator, to help, with putting the world back together. And they discover that the Brotherhood of evil mutants have taken over that. And they basically, capture Bucky, Cap, and Wolverine. And, I don't want to say anymore, but it does not go well for some of them. Excuse me, got something in my eye. I know my eyeball. So anyways, that's a basic premise. I mean, the big draw here is that Greg Capullo's doing the artwork. He's back, and Jonathan Hickman's writing a story. I mean, it's enjoyable. It's basically like, kind of a what if type story. There's no continuity. You can just start reading it. And it's really just about, Wolverine gone wild. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was mind-numbingly brilliant, but it was fun for what it was. Capullo's artwork is always really nice. It's a nice distracting read. It wasn't amazing, but it was decent. Probably worth a look if you're a big Wolverine fan, or Greg Capullo fan, because it's been a while since he's actually done some artwork at Marvel. So, but it was okay. Next up, we have Standstill #1, written by Lee Loughridge, with artwork by Andrew Robinson. So what it is Riker Rule is, he has stolen this, bracelet that allows time to stop. And so what it is, when he freezes time, he can do things. And, so he kind of goes on this revenge tour. Now, it's not necessarily his revenge, because it starts off, he goes to this kind of biker bar and he gets revenge for somebody else. And so there's another story with this guy, and his wife has left him because he's kind of fallen down this deep fake rabbit hole of, he's discovered all these things that have been missing, like the Queen's dogs is missing along with her jewels. Prince Harry or Prince Andrew got his head shaved at night. There's the headlines of the newspapers, and so he's going on this revenge tour, and then the Pentagon has discovered, hey, this thing is missing, and so we know that he's heading. Where is he heading? I'm looking it up. He's heading to like the Middle East, because there's something going on. So everybody's trying to find him. That's the basic structure of the story. It really is surprisingly quite good. I think it's what kind of surprised me is this kind of has flown a little under the radar. I didn't really hear much about this book, but Loughridge's script is really good. We get to know Riker really well. And, he sets it up really, really great to how the time freezes and everything, especially on the plane. I don't want to give much away on that, but he gets this misogynist guy he sits next to, he gets his. And it's really interesting, and I think it'll be really interesting to see where the story goes in this. And then Robinson's artwork is really nice. It's a really good-looking book. This first issue is oversized, so it's kind of like a double-sized issue. So I think that was a smart move, because it really allows the story to breathe in this first issue, so you kind of get to know, Riker and the story behind the bracelet, how it freezes time. So with this book is well worth checking out this week. I really enjoyed it and was quite surprised. Next up, we have Jenny Sparks, #1, written by Tom King, with artwork by Jeff Spokes. So This is kind of the bringing the authority back to the DC universe. And so what it is the Captain Atom's gone rogue. He's gone crazy. And so what it is Jenny is tasked to keep superheroes in check. And so that's kind of what she's doing, because Batman comes to her and says, hey, we got a problem, Captain Atom. Superman's off, doing stuff. So we need you to, put him, take care of this. And so, it's kind of like, the good thing is you don't need to know anything about the Authority or Jenny Sparks. King does a really good job of like introducing the character. Kind of, she really doesn't give a crap about most things, but she does her job. And, we also kind of learn some about Jenny's power, which is good. So I think, this is really well done for new readers, because you kind of get to discover Jenny and her powers and all this kind of stuff. And the really big win for this is Spoke's artwork. This book is gorgeous. It is absolutely just, the artwork is stunning. I'm a big fan of Tom King. I did like this issue. Once again, it's kind of a setup issue. So we're kind of getting the feel for Jenny Sparks and everything. So I think really we're going to see what kind of happens in this second issue, kind of where this story goes. But I like the first issue. It's a good setup, and we'll see where it goes. But I think it's well worth checking out this week. Next up, we have Something Crawled Out, #1, written by Son M, with artwork by Mad Cursed. So what this is Edith Eddie Miller discovers, that there's these, the girls in the town are missing, and she works at a gas station. She kind of, and her best friend, Rainer, his sister's missing, so they're going to try to figure out what's going on. And then while they're at the gas station, this mysterious person shows up, and then it appears that maybe one of the dead girls or one of the missing girls comes, and it's just weird towards the end. It was interesting. I wouldn't say that I particularly, it was like, okay, I think it's, there's a lot of setup here. The art by Mad Curses is pretty decent. And it's, once again, I think it's kind of like, it's okay. I don't know that I'm super compelled enough to go for a second issue. But I think there's some good ideas there. It's just, I'm torn, partially because there's so many books that come out. I don't know that this impressed me enough to, kind of keep going. So, that's kind of where that stands. I mean, like I said, the story was interesting and stuff. I think it did get a little long-winded, because it is almost like a double, first issue. It's definitely more than 20 pages. But I don't know that it was compelling enough to keep going. Next up, we have Powerpuff Girls #2, written by Kelly Thompson, with artwork by Karen S. Darby and Helen Birdie, and also Carlo Loro and Giuliana LaFrancina. There's a lot of artists on this, but the good news is it actually has a really consistent look to it, because they're matching kind of the original animation style of the show. So what this is Mojo Jojo has put a big giant Mojo Jojo statue in there, basically to lure the Powerpuff Girls out to basically drug them so they go to sleep, and he's able to get into their dreams because he wants to try to find out how to defeat them, maybe through their dreams. And he discovers that their dreams are not maybe what he thought they were going to be. This story is really charming. As I said with the first issue, what I like about this book is I can listen, I can, while I'm reading, I can hear all the voice actors and all the music and everything from the Powerpuff Girls. So that's really good for Thompson, that she's really captured the original spirit of the show. And like I said, all four artists who worked on this, it has a really consistent look. It really captures the look of the Powerpuff Girls, and of course Mojo Jojo. Who doesn't love Mojo Jojo? And we all love saying Mojo Jojo. But it's really a fun book. It's once again, it's a one and done story, which is really smart for this kind of book. because all the episodes were like one and done. So I think it's a really great all ages book, and if you're a fan of Powerpuff Girls, it's well worth checking out. Next up, we have Epithets from the Abyss, number 2. So there's 3 stories. There's Pattern Recognition, written by Matt Kent, with artwork by Klaus Janson. Gray Green Memories, written and drawn by Tyler Crook. And then Sounds and Haptics, written by Jason Aaron, with artwork by George Fornes. So this is the relaunch of the EC Comics line from Ani Press, and I liked the first issue, but didn't necessarily love it. I will say I did think this issue's the 3 stories really reminded me more of like EC stories. I did like all the story. So the first one is Matthew. He's part of this gang. Johnny's the leader, and when they go to attack these people, he falls on a nail and it goes into his head. And they take the nail out. He recovers, but he feels like he can hear Johnny in his head, and part of kind of opens his world to like, this is what Johnny wants, and so I don't want to give it away what. But he kind of goes crazy and starts thinking things because of the nail in his head. It really is. It's an interesting story. I liked it. Klaus Janson's artwork's really, really nice. It's more of a psychological type story, and I like that. And then Gray Green Memories is probably my favorite, because what it is this lady who's a zombie. She's in a grocery store and she's staring at a baby food jar. And what's interesting about it is we always think of, zombies are like, and they just want to eat brains, which, they're kind of hungry. But she's kind of trying to remember her life. And by staring at the baby food, she's kind of remembering what, the zombies attacking, and, she had a husband and a baby. And I will not give away the ending. I really like this story a lot. Crook really nailed the tone, and this was definitely, not that the other ones are bad, but this was my favorite story. I really, really like this story. And it was such a unique, different take on zombies, which is just brilliant. And then Sounds and Haptics is about this kid who's driving, and while he's texting, he has a car accident, kills all but one of the passengers in the other car, who's a doctor, and basically the doctor survives by getting revenge, taking a piece away of him at time. So you can kind of imagine what that is, but it's like, it's a revenge story and everything. The story's really good, and Fornes' artwork is really nice on that one. I like this second issue. Like I said, I didn't hate the first issue, but I think the 3 stories in this one are a little bit stronger than the first issue. But the good thing is you can just pick up an issue by itself, because they're all self-contained stories. So that's a big plus for this. So, if you like this issue, great. If you see like the 3rd issue, maybe you're not enamored with, you can skip it and go to the 4th one. So there is an advantage to an anthology book like that with that. Next up, we have Dark Knights of Steel, Allwinter, number 2, written by Jay Kristoff, with artwork by Torso. So what the basic story is here, that Slade, Deathstroke, was at one point married to Adeline, and apparently she's had a child who is Alec, and we kind of learn who Alec is in the DC universe. It would be Alec Holland. So what's interesting about this book is that it's the artwork's in black and white, except for Alec, who is in full color. And once again, it kind of goes back to the green. Green is color. So what it is Vandal Savage had sent Slade to go get this kid. And so Adeline has been protecting, his mom has been protecting him. And so Rose, the female Deathstroke, comes to try to get Alec. And, of course, Slade is now having to, defend, originally he was sent to go get the kid, and then he finds out about the kid and the mom, his ex-wife, and it's really an interesting story. I really like this. What I like about this is it's taking the Dark Knights of Steel. It's basically an Elseworld story, and what it's doing is he's taking these characters and putting them in different situations and different takes of DC characters. I really like this book. The artwork is really just absolutely amazing. Torso. It's just great how the black and white artwork is amazing, but then the color seeps in certain places. It's just really, really a great book. I really like this book a lot. Definitely well worth checking out. Next up, we have Huge Detective #1, written by Adam Rose, with artwork by Magenta King. So the story here is that giants have come out of the earth. They've taken over Australia, but now, and it was really bad for Australians. They had to flee the island. But now there's kind of an agreement between the giants and the humans where they coexist together. But so there's a murder mystery, and Detective Tamaki and Giant, Gyant, he's a detective for the giants. They kind of go on this murder mystery, and he has I guess maybe psychic abilities when he touches the dead body. I think the shame is I think there's some really good ideas here, but unfortunately there's so much exposition, and it's kind of just not it's kind of hard to follow, because what Rose has done, there's kind of subplots that are going on, but then it makes the main story a little confusing. And it's, like I said, it's got some really good ideas. I really like the ideas. It was just that it was really, this first issue was really inconsistent, with the flow. It just didn't flow really, really well. I did like King's artwork is really nice and everything. I think the premise is good enough to definitely check it out. I think it's one of those, I think maybe the second issue will kind of clear up maybe some of these exposition issues that were introduced in this first issue, but I think it's worth looking at. It's kind of a minor recommendation, but I think there's enough interesting concepts in here to at least check out, at least give it a look at your comic shop to see if maybe it kind of fits in your wheelhouse. But we'll definitely try to review the second issue and see if some of those story consistencies are kind of fixed a little bit. Next up, we have Nightwing #117, written by Tom Taylor, with artwork by Bruno Redondo, and then there's inks by Chayo Felipe. So now this is part 4 of 5 of Fallen Grayson. And so he's been, at this monastery with Boston Brand Deadman to try to fix his fear of heights. So that is, and while he was gone, and I didn't want to spoil it last issue, so you've had a month, so a bit of a spoiler that Bruce came in and came to Bloodhaven to be Nightwing, so people would still think that Nightwing is there because of the Heartless and everything, because the Heartless is framed Nightwing for murders. So so Bruce is also trying to find out what happened, why, how Dick was drugged and everything. So there's that. But it's all leading up to the finale of this story, and Taylor and Redondo's, the next issue will be their last issue of Nightwing, which is very sad. But I really like how they're going out with a bang, telling a really good story. Once again, Redondo's artwork is really amazing. It'll be sad because this book has been so good for so long. But it's better to go out, gracefully than to keep going. And we've seen way too many, comics over the years that have gone more than or teams that maybe should have left much earlier in the run. But anyways, always a big win for this book. I love this book. I'll be sad next month, but it's still a great book, well worth picking up. Next up, we have Predator versus Black Panther #1, written by Benjamin Percy, with artwork by Chris Allen, Sean Damian Hill doing pencils, and Craig Young and Lee Ferguson doing inks. So, there's not a huge brilliant story here. So what it starts off as, there's this Predator clan. There's two brothers, and one of them's kind of, the younger, he has a metal leg and stuff like that. So he's a little more of the scrawny of the two. And so they have a beef between each other, to be the loved son of the father. And so what it is the older brother, basically beats him because he has a vibranium staff. And so the younger brother hides a ship and everything. He discovers that vibranium is on Earth and it's in Wakanda, so he's heading there because if he gets vibranium, he's able to beat his brother. So that's the setup of why the Predator comes to Wakanda. Like I said, the story's pretty basic beyond that. He comes, him and Black Panther and Shuri and everybody start getting into a fight. Oh no, the Predators have entered Wakanda. It's not bad, but it wasn't anything that there was nothing surprising. I think really for me, the best parts of it was before the Black Panther part started with the two brothers and everything. I mean, I found that story much more interesting than the rest of it, because the rest of it was like everything you expect. It's like, oh, they're going to Wakanda. Oh, there's Black Panther. They're going to fight. Okay. Once again, it's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of average. It is what it is. It's not, mind-numbingly brilliant, but it's okay. The artwork by the artist is by Allen and Hill is really, the art's really, really nice. It's just kind of an average story, so that's its only downfall. Next up, we have Paranoid Garden, number 2, written by Gerald Way and Sean Simon, with artwork by Chris Weston. So Lou is still trying to figure out, she has no memory of her previous life. And the last issue, there was kind of basically, in simple terms, kind of this Superman character that came into the hospital asylum kind of thing, and he knew who she was, but she doesn't know who she is. So because he has heat vision and stuff, they have to keep him sedated because he's strong and go crazy. And so Lou kind of is starting to have these memories of her past and everything, and it has to do with this new patient. And so, she's starting to discover things within the hospital, because this hospital has humans and aliens and everything. We still don't know kind of what's going on there, but we do discover that Dr. Zirk has kind of a secret. There's something going on behind the scenes, where he blackmails one of the physical therapists to go out and get these two these two characters that he needs at the hospital. We don't know why and everything, but there's kind of a darker thing with the doctor, so that'll be interesting to go on. The second issue builds nicely on the first issue, which I really liked. Weston's artwork is really the big win for this book. It's really a great looking book, and still well worth checking out. I really enjoyed this book, and we'll kind of see where it goes. Next up, we have Panther number 1, written by James Robinson, with artwork by Scott Collins. So what this is Patra is a young girl, and her family was murdered, and she's missing, because police come to the house, and everybody's dead, but she's missing. And we discover that she's out in the woods, and whenever she's in danger, there's this weird mask that she gets, and a knife. So it's kind of like it's, I guess, maybe her superpower or something. And so we don't quite know what's going on with that. But then what it is this doctor comes from this asylum and says that Jeremy, this killer, has escaped. And he goes, because of his abusive family, he goes out and kills, families. So that's kind of the basic premise of, and then of course now Jeremy is hunting Patra. So, I think there's some interesting ideas here. I wasn't super overwhelmed with the first issue. I will say Collins' artwork is really nice. It really, he did a really wonderful job on the look of the book. I think, the story, it's a basic premise here. So we'll kind of see where it goes from here. I think it was okay. But there was a lot of things that weren't explained, which is sometimes a good thing. You don't want to reveal everything at once, but we'll kind of see where it goes. I think it was an okay first issue. Like I said, the art was really nice, but we'll see where it goes. I think it's got an interesting premise. We'll kind of see what happens. And then finally this week we have Wonder Woman number 12, written by Tom King, with artwork by Tony Daniel for the main story. And then there's The World's Finest Part 9, written by King and with artwork by Belen Ortega. So we're still in the throes of Absolute Power. It's a tie-in. So the story, the main story, once again, you don't necessarily have to read this to read the main Absolute Power story, but at least King and Daniel have done a story that is kind of somewhat self-contained. And so what it is Diana and Damian have captured Captain Boomerang, and they're basically torturing him to find out where Amanda Waller's hideout is. And so really what's interesting about it is, like, that's a really simple, one-line premise. But what King has done here, it's really kind of a very much a Damian story, and how, Diana is, how we discover what makes Diana, what makes her such a great character. And, there's humor, there's shocking things, but it really is quite an interesting story. And like I said, you don't have to read this with Absolute Power, but as a regular Wonder Woman story, it kind of interferes with the main story going on, but it's fairly self-contained. So on that, it's a big plus. Now, for the backup, King and Ortega are really nailing it. So what the basic premise of this month's crazy story is that Trinity, Damian, and John have to take a 73-day trip to planet U-4814 to defeat the Mongol of Infinite Earths. So really the story isn't about Mongol, it's about them having to be in a ship together for 73 days. And they go stir crazy and hilarity ensues. It's as always, these backups are just so freaking charming. It's amazing. I love them to death. Ortega's artwork is really the big win for these backup stories. She's just brilliant, and the facial expressions, because once again, they're in a spaceship, they're standing around talking most of the time, and she nails the artwork. It's a fun story, and the artwork is absolutely amazing. So definitely, like I said, I don't really care for these tie-ins, but at least King's trying to minimize the damage that could have been. So that's always a plus. So that's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics, Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner, the owner, runs a great store. There's Annie, there's Wendy, there's Derek. He runs their socials. It's a great comic store. Really, if you're in the Long Beach area, definitely check it out. It's a really great comic store. Ryan runs a really great store. And definitely check it out if you're in the area. And as always, support your local comic shop. Make sure if you pre-order stuff, pick it up on a regular basis, because they have to pay for it before you get it. But they're the backbone of the industry, so really support your local comic shop. It's very important. And as always, we end our show with be kind. Be kind to each other. Trust me, I get it. I've had a rough week. But just be kind and take care of yourself. It's really important. I've discovered, there's just, life sometimes really sucks, and there's not much you can do about it, but, just being kind, to yourself and to others really will help you get, through things. I know it's crazy in the world. It's probably crazy in your life, but, just being, taking care of yourself is very, very important right now. Once again, we all, we all get down. I get down. Like I said, it's been a rough week, but, new comics help, but also, really just being kind to yourself and being kind to others. And by being kind to others and you get that in return, that will make things a lot better, so definitely, take care of yourselves out there. It's really important. Just hang in there. Things will get better. just keep your hope up. Thanks for watching. As always, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comments are welcome. Let me know what you think of the reviews. I appreciate all the feedback that I've been getting lately. Thanks very much. And that's going to do it this week. We'll be back next week with more comic reviews. So this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.